Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading and we look at potential opportunities and hotspots in the markets for today, October 14th, Thursday, October 14th. Can't believe we're halfway through October. My name is
Mhm.
Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me from Keep Trading Simple is Brian Caprice and Kip.
Yeah, I'm not moving because I'm twitchy, guys. I promise. He was
He's got
sleeping, and Mom was like, "All right, I'm gonna go drop Jen off real quick." And then the second that she closed the door, I heard the telltale. I was like, "Oh God!"
I'm
So
gonna have to grab him.
he has a proximity alarm. He knows when Mommy is not close. So
Yeah, you
um,
just hold him like a football. It'll,
yes,
easy
he's
enough.
kind of falling asleep in my arms now. He's like, "Just I want
Oh,
to eat a little bit."
perfect.
But yeah, he's falling asleep.
All right. Well, before Brian and I get into the hot spots for today, I do need to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. So, what are the hot spots in the market for today? And if I can find the right screen, there we go. And I'm going to drop this into the chat as well. There we go. All right. Number one, we had some economic numbers that came out this morning. Continuing jobless claims, initial jobless claims. And uh, initial jobless claims came in under 300,000. I don't think we've come in under 300,000 since the whole pandemic. So that is actually very encouraging. Initial jobless claims down, continuing jobless claims down. So at least we got that going for us. We've also had some some earnings numbers. We are at the front of earnings season. All of the banks, or several of the banks, announced their earnings this morning, and surprise, they are crushing it. With that, we are seeing strength in the markets. We're seeing them across the board. There we go. I mean, here you can just take a peek at the Nasdaq, and we could clearly this week it's been a rough week for equities, but we're setting up to continue what we started yesterday and take back all of those losses. In terms of, let me bring up the S&P real quickly. I just want to bring it up before I flip it over to Brian. Let's go down to that.
While you're finding that, Todd,
Yep.
March 19th, 2020 was the last time we were under 300. It was
Oh
281,000,
my gosh. Hey, that was pretty
and
good. That was off the top of my head.
yeah, and then March 26th, we went up to 3.2 million. So it went big. Quick.
So, and here you can see the S&P 500 clearly, kind of chopping along late day yesterday, started to move back, and here we go on Thursday. We're taking off. So I think what we're going to end up doing today is we're going to look at the equities, and then before we wrap it up today, we are going to take a look over at, because I mentioned it yesterday, we are going to have the natural gas and crude oil, in fact, all oil, gasoline, heating oil, everything, inventory levels later this morning. So we'll take a look over at the Nasdaq gas charts for the 10:30 Eastern release, and then oil for that 11 a.m. Eastern release. Remember, we got them both today. So let's get into it. Brian, I'm going to flip it over. We can start with
Mhm.
equities, and then we'll get over to to looking ahead for the energies for later this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, it's actually been an interesting morning, guys. Getting that overview, we've seen pretty much dollar weakness across the board, which will actually help the indices a little bit. Pound is the big winner in the overnight right now. You're seeing pound dollar, pound yen up big, and then the euro pound down. Aussie dollar is up 83, which is also pretty decent versus the dollar, and then dollar Swiss, dollar CAD, dollar yen all down today. So dollar CAD being down this much, it'll be interesting. Oil is up a little bit. Although I would say that that's probably an opportunity later on today based off of some of the inventory reports that we've seen. So right now, all the indices are more or less kind of in the same. I mean, obviously having this news of unemployment claims being under 300,000, starting it's not quite back to normal. I think anywhere between 250 and 270 is kind of what the normal is considered. Supposed to be. But again, having that be, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then seeing the PPI numbers, and again, for those who aren't familiar with all the different analogies they have, it's the change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers. So we saw earlier this week that the CPI went up, but the PPI, the cost, is less. So yeah, there's that. It's like, wait, how does that happen?
It's
Yeah,
costing them less, but they can charge us more.
right.
So
Once you used to paying $4 a gallon for gas, why would you want it back down to two? I mean,
right.
I feel like you would get wasteful at that point. But that's kind of where we're standing. So all the indices are basically kind of at the same area. They've been more or less rallying up, from yesterday. The turning point yesterday morning, and again, I'll extend this across. This is the ES. You can see, and I'm going to put I'm doing this all one-handed, just so you guys know. But there's our 10:30 time frame, and we talk about 10:30 as being the big reversal time. Well, pretty much 10:30 went straight up and has done nothing. It slowed down a little bit in this area. We mentioned that we had that one little hiccup, and you can see it hit it and kind of went back and hit it again and based through it again, and then it kind of it pushed above and then used that same level as kind of a stabilization point. So we can just take it off. But right now we've kind of pushed all the way back to an extreme. Everything more or less is good. There's no really negative news that I would see today. But we are getting up to a technical point where, some people are going to say, listen, we were long from yesterday. Maybe is there a potential for us to roll over? And I would say, we've seen it before. Up at this 4,400 level, we've seen a very strong push up and then a very kind of big push back down again, that non-farm area. So it's a level. You got to kind of watch out for it. Am I getting super bearish today? Not really, because like I said, I mean, the numbers so far are justifying it are good. The question is this a launching point for us to go higher? Are we going to start pushing sideways? And it's kind of this is that kind of catch-22 that we've talked about before. Is the news bad? Like, why it's bad news, but the market is going up, right? Or is it too bad, or is it too good? Because remember, if it's too good, taper has to start faster, and they really start crimping these things. So, you got to see how people are going to take it today. It's we keep progressing forward. We're getting closer to the end of the year, but now it's we're back under 300,000 for unemployment claims. Do we need as much support as we're getting? And then earnings are starting to trickle in, and people are blowing out of the water. It's not like companies are struggling right now, so. Could they handle the taper a little bit faster and raising the interest rates, because inflation is here? I know they say that it's right where we want it to be. It's like, well, it's two and a half times your mandate. I don't know. So again, if you're purely going to go on technical basis, I would say watch out for ES today. We are approaching a level. NQ also had the same type of rally from yesterday. Now NQ's got a little bit more room to run.
That's also been the one that's been it has been hit the hardest. In the sell-off, so it certainly it could give it that possibility to punch a little higher.
Yeah, it's at 14,923. It's up just over 1%. It's kind of it's jockeying with the Russell to be the strongest today. But remember, the magical number there is going to be 15,000. That's like 1,800 gold is 15,000 in the equities. And again, we've seen the last two times we've hit this level, you can see push back down, and we got a little bit more room to run. So I mean, do we have a initial rally up? And 10:30 reversal, that would be right there. I mean, that's absolutely possible with this one. So again, we'll see what it's able to do. YM, kind of the same thing. It's pushing higher. Now, YM is not an extreme. It also had that kind of 10:30 reversal yesterday after that really, really big drop. And again, this area had been hit. We didn't really have a trade set up, but we also didn't have enough room for it to run because we knew we had some buyers. So there was no short trade set up here. But again, 4 punches and it drove lower. Right now, we're sitting at a level as well. So we've seen ES kind of at an extreme, kind of at a turning point. NQ, a little bit more run, although not it's kind of an extreme. YM is not an extreme. It's at a 50%. Actually, I can throw fibs on here and see what we got. You can see it's flirting around. This zone is sitting there right at the 61.8. And then so again, could there be some selling here? Maybe, but again, the data technically justifies us on a fundamental basis going higher. And if it does break through this level, coming through at 34,565, we're clear to 34,768. So YM looks like it has just a little bit more power higher. This one could have a pretty nice day running up. And then Russell's an interesting chart. So Russell is also at the extreme, but this is where we've been the last 2 days, right? Yesterday morning, we were talking about the setup off the 61.8, and it dropped down again. Well, guess what? It came back up again. This is where we were yesterday morning, right here. And guess what? At 9:45 at the open, we were still at that 61.8. We drove all the way down. I don't know if you guys can see the 23.6.
It dipped down, touched it, and took off.
It took off. Which, by the way, let's put our timing on it. 10:30, right there. So nice little profit target. So again, kind of the same thing. So And we talk about the rule of four. This is like not Star Wars. Is the rule of four. You say your 1, 2, 3, and 4 hits, so you didn't expect it to hold anymore. So again, there was a couple trade setups. Again, like I said, there was the decent one 2 days ago. Yesterday morning, we're giving you the same exact thing. And again, this is about layering systems. I just tell people this all the time: layering systems. And now, right now, we're up at a level as well. And again, remember, 2275 is the magic number over here. So we got about another 11 points on this one to go. And Russell will be the one that kind of leads the group in most cases, particularly being small cap. So,
all right.
No.
Interesting with the equities. I mean, we're up across the board, all looking about 1%. Still have some room to push higher, although there are, we're getting up into levels where we'd potentially see some resistance, and we'll have to see what the retail trader thinks, if they want to, pause them at those levels, or if they want to push through them and start setting new highs. The other thing we got today, because I want to make sure that we've got enough time to cover it, is I do want to look at the oil and the nat gas, because we do have those inventory reports today, and I know that there's an out trade between at least here in the United States, how much oil we and reserves that we've got, but it's not the same globally, right? Other places around the globe, in the UK, 1 out of every 10 gas stations.
Well, that's because it's not that they don't have oil; they can't get it to the stations because of the visa issues of COVID. There's like 1,000 people. Like, I guess this surprises me, but they said that a lot of the people that are delivering oil up there were visa holders, and they were unable to get visas or whatever the natural cycle is for them. So they have their military actually driving gas to the station. So it's not that they don't have oil; they have no way to get it there because of COVID lockdowns and visa non-renewals and things like that because of COVID. So it's kind of a weird scenario, like a weird play. And again, it's exacerbating. Again, it's more headlines, more news about we don't have oil, we can't get oil, we can't get it yet. You have it, you just can't get it to the people. It doesn't do you any good having it, right? If you can't get it out to the end user, and
but the perception, the perception becomes,
we don't have it.
We don't have it, so prices go up.
Yep. Well, it's a scarcity. Think of it this way: it's a scarcity. If you think that you cannot get oil, you're going to be willing to pay more for it when you can actually get it. Doesn't mean that the supply side is gone. Remember, oil is driven by the supply side, right? Producers and users. If a user feels he can't get it, they're raising the rate on it. If you have the hot commodity that everybody wants and everybody needs, then you charge more for it. I mean, that's just business. I mean, that's just the way that it works. You got to put a premium on there so you don't sell out of all your gas at one time. And unfortunately, this goes back to the whole inequality. People that cannot afford the rates are not going to be paying for it. People that can afford the higher prices will pay for it. So, everything out there in that market, when you look at it, it's like, it's all about equality now and love with everybody. It's like, well, you're not really helping the people that need it most by saying that there's no such thing as inflation, because there is. And looking at the news today, guys, again, we have oil inventory at 11 o'clock, now 10:30. Here is the weekly API number. The forecast was supposed to be, the forecast surplus is 0.1 million. The actual number came in at 5 million. That is a huge number. And if we look back, again, we have crude oil here. You can see that the last two in September, we were at plus 4.6, right? Last time it was supposed to be 0.8, came at plus 2.3. Now API is out here throwing up this gigantic, number of 5.2. But don't fret, guys. Don't fret. Russia has said, the Russian Deputy Prime Minister, Alexander Novak, believes that oil prices could reach $100 a barrel under certain conditions, but Russia hopes to balance the situation.
Oh, they're going to come to the rescue, aren't they?
Russia is one of the big mouthpieces in OPEC Plus that has the oil cuts in place right now. So, hello? Yeah. So, Mother Russia is going to save us from $100 a barrel. They're coming out. They're going to be the savior of the world, and they're going to control oil prices so it doesn't reach $100 a barrel. But they're the reason why the prices are going up.
Right. So,
here's oil. Watch out for this, guys. Watch the spike. Yeah, I would say watch for a continued run up in price. If we can get up to this, and let's see, where's our news button? News button will be at 11 o'clock right there. It's kind of a perfect scenario setup. If price pushes up into there before news, look at those shorter duration binary contracts, maybe even call spreads, depending on what time they print. Like I said, it's a little bit different. The 10:30 window is a little bit hard. Could you sneak in and maybe grab an 11 o'clock? If there's a little bit of a delay, could you grab something right at 11? it's potentially there, potentially. But again, we'll see what the move does. But it's getting up to an area where it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's driving up. And is this the drive for that huge surplus number? Because remember, if you want to sell something, you want to rise the price first. You want to get as much money as you possibly can for it. Now, if we print a gigantic number today, like I said, it's already forecast to be a 1.1 surplus. If this comes in at 4 or 5, and oil goes all the way up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it would keep doing that. I mean, I know that there's
if
demand.
it's too bad, everybody will hit the short button, and then the big money will go long.
I mean,
and then
I know
sell
that
it tomorrow.
there is demand, right? It is supply and demand. And demand being driven a little bit by people looking for oil to heat, particularly going into winter, with natural gas completely taking off in price. So I don't know if we want to jump over quickly to the nat gas. So
Natural gas is doing the same thing. It's approaching a level up at $5.85. We've seen it. It's a level before. It has been tested. It didn't have it was an alright push away. It's kind of the same scenario. It is up 3.8 or 3.9, almost 4% today. Oil is currently right now is up 3.1. So it's kind of, it's going to be it is the silver to gold, it's the same scenario.
Right.
Like gold is up 0.3% right now, silver's up 1.6. So natural gas will always move faster, have that higher beta than oil will. And typically in the double days, natural gas does not move as much, but it is at a level where it's sitting high. And remember also, the dollar is losing a lot of strength right now. So that is kind of factoring in this a little bit as well. I would say, again, we have the opening trade set up, and then again, it's 9:30 open. We have 10:30 natural gas, 11 o'clock we have oil right after it. So it's kind of bang, bang, bang right on top of it. Things are moving, and again, even bonds is about the only thing that is actually showing down right now. But bonds in the dollar are down. Bonds in the dollar are down. Everything else is, U.S. oil is up, gold is up, silver's up, equities are up. So it's a feel-good day. It's a feel-good Thursday.
Yeah,
it is Thursday, right?
Let's see how it all manifests.
Yeah.
All right. With that, feel good Thursday. Maybe that'll lead into.
I don't know what day it is anymore. It's how it is.
If you've got any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, you can hit him up at support@keeptradingsimple.com. A quick recap of what we've gone over today. Economic numbers looking good in terms of jobless claims. We've got earnings coming out. All the equities looking higher, about 1% or just thereabouts. And then we've got the oil and nat gas inventory reports later this morning. Look at those shorter term binary options over at Nadex for some potential opportunity, particularly nat gas climbing. I mean, it's already blown through the short duration strikes this morning. We'll have to print some more for before that number, but definitely be taking a look over there for that. And Brian and I will catch you again tomorrow morning. Want to wish everyone good luck in the markets. Thanks, everyone.